morning and welcome back. My name is Sussex Sandra and today I'm here to do another foundation all day wear test. The foundation I am testing today is called, I have to look at my screen because some of these foundations have such long names I can never remember it off the top of my head. So this foundation is called Matte Clay Skin Clarifying Foundation and it's by the Body Shop. First of all, I'm going to apologise for taking so long to do this review. It was suggested to me over a month ago by one of my subscribers. I think it was Busidi again. Yeah, I think it was Busidi. So I apologise, Busidi, if it is you who told me to try this one out. I just have to keep to a budget each month and how many products I'll buy. So I had to wait for this month to buy this product. So here I am, I'm going to be testing it. I'm actually testing the foundation in the deepest shade available, which is, this shade is called, I can tell you now, it is called Santiago Walnut. Now the foundation costs £10, so that's a really good price, and it's from the Body Shop, so it's easily available. Most high streets in the UK have got a Body Shop, so this foundation is easily available. And the second good thing is that the price is cheap, it's £10. So if it works, even better. Right, so why I want to test this foundation is that for those of you who are regular viewers of my channel, you'll know that I have got extremely oily skin. So I'm always looking out for foundations that can control my oil for as long as possible. So before I go any further, let me just tell you a little bit more about the product, and I'm just going to read off the screen. So it comes in 30 millilitres, 1 fluid ounce, which is a standard size for foundation products. It comes in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 shades, and it says combat skin imperfections throughout the day with our new 100% vegan matte clay foundation. This lightweight foundation is enriched with skin clearing tea tree and leaves a breathable yet full coverage matte finish. It's also resistant to water and sweat. We'll see. Apply with our multitasking complexion blender for a flawless coverage. I'll be using a normal brush or a beauty blender. I'll be using one of the two, or I might use both of them. It says it has full coverage, matte finish, enriched with powerful tea tree oil, promotes clearer looking skin, oil absorbing properties, ideal for any skin types, ultra lightweight and breathable 24-hour coverage. So there you go. If you order it online, you can buy it for £10 online from the Body Shop, but there's a £2.49 delivery, postage and delivery charge. Alright, so without further ado, let us crack on and apply it. So I'm going to shake it and I'm going to zoom in a bit more. So I've already applied my normal double priming system. So by double priming, for those of you who don't know, it's something I've just introduced quite recently and it's working for me. I'm using the Fenty primer first of all, because that's actually quite moisturizing as well as being a primer. So I put that on first as my moisturizer. Then I put on my Becca Evermatte Poreless Primer, which is my usual primer that I use. But instead of putting it all over my face now, I'm just putting it in these areas here, so just around here, because I've noticed that my skin's slightly changing. My forehead's a little bit drier now, so I don't need to put the Becca Evermatte Poreless Primer up on my forehead now. So I literally just focus on this area here, just across my face like that, like a mask, that area there. So I put that all over. I've put concealers on already, so I use the NARS Creamy Radiance concealer under my eyes, and I use a little bit of colour corrector, which is the LA Girl Pro Colour Corrector, I think it's called, and it's the orange colour, and I just put that around here and that's it. Okay, so let's shake this product and let's apply it. I think what I'll do half my face with the beauty blender and I'll use half my face with a brush. Let me get a brush. We'll use you today. What are you? So you're Morphe E31 brush. I'll be using that. So half and half. Okay, let's do this. Oh, and I did a light layer of powder, and I used the Urban Decay Velvetizer. So I just did a light layer of that on my face as well. These are my usual hacks I use because I have got very oily skin. So I have to do these little preparation things just to prepare my face. Right. So it comes in a squeezy package, so not a pump. So I'm gonna squeeze out what I think might be a pump. Don't know. Oh, it's quite a runny product, so there you go, like that. That's the colour. Not sure the colour's going to be okay, but we will soon find out. So half my face using the blend. God almighty. Right, my usual reaction when I put on a foundation. Try not to say anything, so let's do this. Okay, so initially I could see that it's actually very orangey in undertone, but let's see if we can blend this out to make it work. So my intention today is to wear this foundation for at least 8 hours, so we're giving it a decentish test to see what it's like. I'm not going to wear foundation for 24 hours, don't think anyone should, but I certainly won't be, just for a normal work day. And you can see already it's drying down immediately, very matte already, which is good. Okay, I actually think that one squeeze might be enough. So this is giving me, I'd say, a medium coverage. It actually looks a little bit almost cakey, which I can't believe I'm saying that. But it's definitely a matte finish, so I hope you can see that clearly. So that's a matte finish, and that's one half of my face, and this is the half that hasn't got anything on as yet. Okay, so it's got a slightly, as I said, reddy orangey undertone, but I can live with that. Right, let's get me setting spray. I always put a setting spray on the brush just to help in blending the mascara and the foundation. And just squeeze a little bit on there. God, that might be a bit too much, but we'll see. Okay, let's do this. Okay, so that's the coverage using the brush, and that was, I used the Morphe E31 brush. The foundation does dry down very quickly, but I must admit I think I prefer the application with the sponge. I'm actually going to go over it all now with the brush just to make sure this side is less patchy, because it was a bit patchy using the brush before it dries down completely. Okay, it's definitely a foundation that dries down very quickly. It dries down very matte, so for those of you who want full matte coverage, you're going to get that with this foundation. The colour is not perfect, but you know, it's as near as I'm going to get really, so we'll go with it. And it is the darkest colour in their range, which was the Santiago Walnut. Coverage, I would say, is medium, because it's not covering all of my blemishes. You can see some of my hyperpigmentation is still poking through under my skin, but I'm not going to put another layer on because this is enough for me. I'm only going to work, I'm not going out anywhere special, it's just work. So by the time I finish doing my contouring and everything else, it'll be fine. It'll be enough for what I need for the day. So yeah, it feels very light. It doesn't feel cakey, even though it did look initially a little bit cakey on this side, but I think it's going to be okay. I think if I did put another layer on, then it would probably start looking a little bit cakey. But overall, first impressions at the moment, it's okay. Quite happy with that. So it'll be interesting to see how this does. Alright, so I'm going to finish putting on the rest of my makeup. So I'm just going to do my eyes, my usual, do my contour and stuff, and I'll give you a time check. Let me do the time check now actually. It is coming up to 9:15 in the morning. So the aim is to wear this foundation for at least, it's going to be about 7 hours I think by the time I get back. 7 to 8 hours, that's the aim. Alright, so I will finish the rest of my makeup and then I'll come back to you in a minute. Okay, so the makeup is all done now. Gonna be going to work today, so not a special look, just a made-up look. Okay, so this is how the foundation has dried down. I mean, admittedly, it did dry down very quickly as I was applying it. Colour now looks okay, in my opinion. I'm just looking at my face and my neck. I could get away with this, that's all right. Doesn't seem to be oxidizing, so that's good. So the colour seems to remain true, but we will see when I get back later on. So my intention is to wear the foundation for, I'd say 7 hours, 7 to 8 hours if I can. and then I'll do my usual review of how the foundation has performed. Alright, so I will see you later. Take care. Bye. So good afternoon and welcome back. So I'm here to give you my final thoughts of the foundation I was testing out today. And the foundation was called, hold it up, Matte Clay Skin Clarifying Foundation. I was wearing it in the darkest colour available, which was Santiago Walnut. So before I go through what's been happening here, let me just remind you of what the claims were on this foundation. So it says that it's full coverage, matte finish, enriched with powerful tea tree oil, promotes clearer looking skin, oil absorbing properties, ideal for any skin type, ultra lightweight and breathable 24-hour coverage. Okay, so I put this foundation on, it was about 9:15 this morning, and the time now is, let's have a look, it is, get the right app up, the time now is 10 to 5, so we're talking about just under 8 hours, about 7.5 hours I've been wearing the foundation for. So it's a decentish amount of time to get a good idea of how the foundation has done on my very oily skin. So when I applied the foundation this morning, I applied this side with the beauty blender and this side with the brush. And I think I said that the side with the beauty blender applied much better. So when I do my reviews of foundations, I test it on 5 different categories, and my system is called TOPS. So the T stands for transfer. So I'm looking to see if the foundation transfers onto oil, paper, onto lightweight clothing. The O stands for oil control. So does the foundation absorb my oil? And if the oil does break through, how long did it take for the oil to break through? The first P stands for performance, so I'm looking to see if the foundation, if it melts, it fades or it separates, and just to see how the integrity of the foundation, how it performs. The second P is the price, so what's the price and the value of the foundation with other similar products in its range. And the final one is S for shade selection. So what is the shade availability? Is there a good range of shades available? So let's go through all of those then. So the first 2 things, the transfer and the oil, I normally do by using blotting sheets. And what I do, I put the blotting sheets on and to see how much oil comes through and how much foundation transfers onto the blotting sheets. So just to remind you, for those of you who've never watched one of my videos before, the worst performing foundations have used up 5 blotting sheets very easily, completely soaked those blotting sheets up with oil. And the best foundations tend to use 2 to 3 blotting sheets. I will always produce oil. I have never had a foundation that stops oil production completely. So, you know, I'm always going to produce oil. So for me, an acceptable amount is going to be sort of 2 sheets of blotting sheets. The other thing I tend to look for as well with foundations is to see when the oil starts to break through. So did the oil break through after an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, etc, etc. What I like in foundations, that especially if they claim to be oil absorbing, is that the oil doesn't start to break through until after 4 hours. So let's do the first bit of this. So let's look at the transfer. So I've got my blotting sheets here, and let's do sheet 1. Okay, so that's sheet 1. Okay, so sheet 1, we've got definite oil and definite foundation. There's no doubt about that, so that's number 1. Okay, that's sheet 2 again, lots of oil, lots of foundation, and I'm just going to do just a little bit of a mop up, so I'm going to use a 3rd sheet. Okay, so just a little bit of oil and yet again foundation. Okay, so what we've got there is just over 2 sheets of oil, foundation, on these sheets here. So the foundation obviously transfers, there's no doubt about that. And I did notice it when I was writing up my reports this afternoon. I did notice a little bit of foundation going onto my paper. It wasn't a lot, but it was a little bit of foundation being transferred on. I didn't wear my white coat today, so I've had this top on, which has been quite away from my neck, so I didn't really notice it on any of my clothing. But what we did see quite clearly, there was a lot of foundation on these sheets here. There was quite a bit. So I'm thinking out of 10 for transfer, because it definitely did transfer, I think we are looking at about 6 out of 10, because there's definite transfer. Actually, even I'm going to say 5 out of 10, because there was definite transfer there. So 5 out of 10 for the transfer. For the oil wasn't that bad. I mean, I've been wearing a foundation for 7.5 hours, and it's just 2 and a bit sheets of oil and foundation there. But I'm looking at my face now, it's not too bad. I did have to blot, I'm trying to remember what time it was. I did blot about 1:30, so I had to go into a meeting at 2 o'clock. So I did sort of do a quick little, just a little bit of a powder on the top of my face, and I used the Fenty buffing powder just on top of my face. So there was a little bit of buffering then. So considering that and the 2 and a bit sheets of oil there, I think for oil, I am going to give this, God, it wasn't too bad, and the oil didn't start to break through until about 1 o'clock, I would say. So there was a good 4 hours there. So I think a 7 out of 10 for oil control, because it wasn't too bad. For performance, I'm looking to see if the foundation has melted, if it's faded or if it's separated. Sometimes with some of the foundations I wear, when the oil starts to break through, the foundation starts to break up around my nose, it collects in bits, it starts to separate, particularly on my forehead. It just starts looking a right mess on my face. So let's focus you in a bit so you can have a good look at my face and you can judge with me. So there's a little bit of fading, but not much, and it's all around the perimeter area, so you can see the little bits of hyperpigmentation starting to come through there, bits of my skin coming through there. And on this side, I would say again, same thing. Very gentle fading on my forehead, but it's been even, so it's not too bad. But overall, it looks okay. It doesn't look too bad actually. So I'm going to say for performance, it's a little bit of fading, but there's no separation, there's been no melting. So I'm going to give this a performance 8 out of 10. Would you agree with that? I think that's kind of fair, considering. Let me go back out again, because you don't want to go too into my face, do you? Right, what's the next one? So price. So the price is £10. I mean, that's a really good price. I mean, £10 is cheap. Some of the high street foundations I've been testing out recently, they've been costing about £14, £13 to £14, even £15. So this is actually very cheap in considering the prices of the drugstore high street foundations at the moment. I must say that a lot of the high street foundations, they are getting more expensive. You know, once upon a time, you could definitely get foundations for under £10, but now they all seem to be going sort of between £10 and £15 now. So they're kind of trying us a bit. So this is still very cheap on the £10 range. So I'm going to say on price, and considering what it does, I think this is pretty good. So I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10 for price, because it's very affordable. £10 isn't affordable. I mean, a teenager can afford to buy that with their pocket money. So this is a good price foundation. So I'd say 9.5 out of 10 for the price. And finally, the last category was the shade selection. Now, there are only 10 shades available, and let me show you on my phone. There was 10 shades available, and the darkest shade was the one I wore. So let me just show these to you. Right, so that's the shades on my phone there. So I'm wearing that darkest shade there, Santiago. You've got this shade next to it, which I'd say is like a tan. And then after that, it's all the light medium shades. I'm not sure how pale the very pale one goes. And Peruvian Lily is the lightest colour there. I don't know how pale that is. I would say that is like a light rather than fair. And then that's the deepest colour there, which I'm wearing now. So if you compare the two, I would say that the shade availability isn't great. Obviously more favourable for those who are in the light to beige. Was it light medium they call it? I'd say it's more favourable for people in that shade range. But for anybody in the tan to dark, I mean, that's the one next to me. What's it called? It's called Mollican Nutmeg. So there's that shade, and there's pretty much a big jump from that to my shade. So not great on a deep sheet on the skin shades. I say there's one deep skin shade, and that's my one, and you're not going to get much darker than this. There's one a little bit of a jump, sort of 2-3 shades lighter, and then after that there's nothing else. So I think for shade selection it's not that great. So I'm going to give it a 5.5 out of 10 for shade selection. No idea what that all is, but what I'll do, I will add it all up and I'll put it on the screen what the total score is. But as an everyday foundation, you want something cheap which you're going to be able to wear out, this will do. If you can find your shade and to fit you, this foundation will do fine. It's 10 quid, easily available. You can't go too wrong with that. You know, if you're on a budget, then this is a perfectly good foundation to buy. Especially if you've got oily skin, because this is what I always aim my videos at for those of us who have got very oily skin. There you go, that's my thoughts. Let me know what you think down below. If you've enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give me a like down below. And if you haven't subscribed as yet, what are you waiting for? Just press the subscribe button, and then if you press the little bell next to the subscribe button, that will notify you when I do my next upload. Before I go, just want to remind you, I am still doing a giveaway. I can't believe I'm still saying this like a couple months later. It just shows how hard it is to get subscribers. So originally I said that my giveaway was going to be up to when I got 350 subscribers at the end of September. Haven't quite got to 350 yet. So I'm just leaving out a date. I'm just saying 350 subscribers. When I get the 350 subscribers, so I'll announce it on the YouTube, and I'll probably get my niece or my daughter to pick out the winner, and we'll announce it there again. Alright, and then what I'll do, if the person can email me directly or Instagram me, so either a DM to give me their address, and then I can post out the giveaway box to them. Alright, so I hope that's all okay. Tell me what you think about this foundation. Yeah, and I will see you soon. Take care. Bye.